Okay, well, welcome to this Coach-A-Thon session, this Energetic NLP Coach-A-Thon session. And we'll do a mixture of group meditations and then the individual coaching. And be aware, this is being recorded. Other people will be able to see it later, and other people can see it now. People will be able to see it later. So just make sure you're aware of that. You don't have to be on camera if you don't want to be, and you can just put things in the chat if you want to do that. Let me just make sure everybody's muted for now. And, the sooner you get something in the chat, if you have a question, if you want some coaching, or raise your hand when it comes to that, the better. I'll get to as many people as I can. But I want to explain a little bit about how these coach-a-thons work. So everybody's being worked on the entire time. So I might be just talking to Leslie, let's say, but everybody's always being worked on. So you may wonder, well, how does that work? Well, one of my specialties is remote energy work, which, by the way, anybody can do. It's not some weird, mysterious thing that, well, maybe a mysterious thing, but it's not weird. Anybody can do it. I like in the M Club, I teach people to do it. And actually, I have this DIMA program, this Discover Your Miraculous Abilities program happening this weekend, and people can do remote energy work at the end of that. So my job is to get energy flowing wherever you are in the world. And I think of it as bringing in a whole symphony of energies. There's a whole mixture and symphony of energies. Your spirit and your deep inner human wisdom will decide which energies it wants to use, and the other ones, they'll be there, but they won't interact with you. And it will decide what to do with them. So some of you are new to Energetic NLP, so I'll be explaining how this all works and just a little bit about my background. We'll do a group meditation, and then we'll start doing individual coaching, do a group meditation, we'll do individual coaching. So we'll go back and forth. But early on, be sure to mute yourselves as you come in. It's supposed to automatically mute you, but technology is great, but not perfect. And what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So we'll be going between group meditations and individual coaching. And when you're the one being coached, make your story short. I don't need all the details of the situation. If I need more information, I'll ask you. So if you were telling me about Romeo and Juliet, you'd go, well, this girl and this boy love each other, their families hate it, and they both die. So, just keep it very simple. And if I need more information, I'll ask you. As a general rule, the more you're talking, the less you'll get out of it. So, again, I'll be reading your energy, and I'll ask you questions for what I need to know. The other thing is your spirit and your inner wisdom will be in charge of what happens for you. So I don't have to completely understand it. In fact, my completely understanding it sometimes would get in the way, because I would believe, well, this is what's going on, this is what's needed. And in Energetic NLP, we always keep your, people use the word sovereignty, your sovereignty in charge. So your spirit, your deep inner human wisdom, know what your life is about, know your big purposes, they know how your life fits in with the unfolding of humanity. Your spirit and wisdom know what you want and need. So my job is just to work with that. And I will get messages at times, and I'll share them if it's helpful to share them. And also be aware that when you're clearing old programming and patterns, talking about the way it used to be is really counterproductive, because you start recreating it and bringing in these energies. So if something just clears and heals, unless I get guided that it's helpful for you to know what it was about, I won't necessarily talk about what it was, because actually that's, again, the way people hold themselves back. They get locked into their analysis and their explanations, which are usually incomplete or wrong anyways. We all think we understand everything. And the more you get into spirituality and energy work, the more you realize we're multidimensional beings. And just because we think something is the cause doesn't mean that's really the deeper spiritual cause. In just a little bit, I'll be guiding you through creating what we call your miraculous self. Now, your miraculous self is different than your high self. And your miraculous self is something that kind of sort of exists, but it doesn't totally exist until you start working with it. I think of it like a muscle in your body that you rarely use. So it's there, but it's flabby and it can't do much of anything. But you start using it, it gets strong, it gets supple, it gets coordinated. You can do things with it. Well, your miraculous self is something that only kind of sort of exists until you work with it. Let me just double check again. Would everybody check that they're muted? Because unfortunately, it doesn't always work when I mute everybody. Let me see if I can check real quick, but there's a lot of us. There's 100 of us right now. Hang on. Okay. So just again, be sure that you're muted. What was I talking about? Oh, your miraculous self. So your miraculous self is formed when your spirit, with its vast perspective, and your deep inner human wisdom, with its very practical perspective, come together to guide you, nurture you, heal you, help you manifest. Guide you, nurture you, heal you, and help you manifest, and help you transform your life. And I talk about transformation a lot, and I mean transforming your life, not you. I believe that everybody is a beautiful, powerful, multidimensional spiritual being that doesn't need to be fixed. But we have all this programming, unconscious, spiritual programming. We have karma, we have what are called spiritual contracts, and a lot of other things that block us from really manifesting these amazing beings that we are. So in energetic NLP, we're always doing two things. We're clearing things that limit you, and we all have things that limit us. That's not bad or wrong. It's part of being a human being. And so we're clearing what limits you, and we're opening up more of this vast potential inside of you so that you're constantly blossoming and growing and enjoying life more, being happier, being more successful, having more love, vitality. And I want to be clear, in energetic NLP, we do work with physical issues, but we don't make any claims. I can't legally or really even ethically make claims for physical healing. I can tell you that many times when people do energetic NLP work, they physically get better. And I want to be clear, if there's something wrong with me, I go to a doctor. If there's something wrong with you, go to a doctor, go to a psychiatrist, whatever you need. So this is all meant to complement anything else you're doing in your life. And very often it can be totally miraculous. You can't ever guarantee miracles, but we get a lot of them on, mental, emotional, spiritual healing. Any other background things to start with? I'll talk a little bit more about my background later, but I want us to get into the energy. So in a moment, we're going to set our group energy field. You're going to create your miraculous self, which is beyond easy. I mean, I don't know what's easier than easy. It's totally easy. Then for the rest of what we do, your miraculous self will be in charge of how you benefit. So we call these kind of sessions, along with it being a Coach-A-Thon, it's also an energy spa, an energetic NLP energy spa. And it's a lot like if you were going to get a massage. Consciously, you have to set an intention. You have to give permission for it to happen, and you have to be willing to receive it. And then when you're getting your massage, your job is to relax and receive. In the same way, in these processes, you'll set whatever your intentions are. And I'll always urge you to add the words "or better," because your spirit and inner wisdom may have something better in mind than you're thinking of. So you set your intentions, and then you give permission. And you might think those automatically go together, but they don't. So you set your intention, you give permission to receive the benefits, you give permission for what we call your miraculous self to be in charge, and then your job is just to use your imagination. So the way to get the least out of this Coach-A-Thon is to be analyzing it the whole time and going, is it working? Am I thinking what I should be thinking? Should I be feeling this? Should I not be feeling this? The way to get the most out of it is while it's going on, pretend the energy's coming in, imagine the energy's coming in, imagine it's working. Later, you can analyze it to your heart's content. While it's going on, you don't need to believe that it's working, by the way. You just need to imagine that it's working. And then later, you'll notice changes in your life, and people will say things to you at times like, there's something different about you, or you're more relaxed, or you seem more confident, or you seem happier. You'll get feedback from the world. So while it's going on, just imagine it's working, and then later you can analyze it to your heart's content. And again, I'll urge all of you, please check and make sure you're muted. Okay. So the briefest of introductions now, I'm Art Geiser. I'm the creator of Energetic NLP. It brings together some of the best of neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. And I've been a trainer in that field since 1985. I studied with all the developers. But I combine NLP to create energetic NLP by combining it with spiritual principles, healing and transformative energy work, intuition development, psychic development, clairvoyance. So basically, I take the best of everything I've learned over about the last 39, 40 years and bring it together. And it's constantly evolving. And, the one thing I didn't mention, so we'll be doing group meditations, we'll do the individual coaching. And the third thing is every now and then I will be talking briefly about my upcoming workshop this weekend. This is called DYMA, D-Y-M-A, for Discover Your Miraculous Abilities. It's, he says modestly, an incredible life-changing workshop. In fact, those of you who've been in DYMA, if you want to put comments in the chat about how you benefited, that would be great. So I will be mentioning that and encouraging people to join. In fact, today is the last day to get, there was like a super early bird discount. Now we're in the early bird discount, but that ends today. And then it goes up some over the next couple of days, and then it keeps going up. And the reason for that is to motivate people to make a decision. Let me put a link in. Thank you, Pamela. That would be very helpful. 1 second. I meant to have those already, and I don't, but it'll just take me 1 second. It's one of those, that's what I was going to do and I didn't do. There we go. That's for DYMA. All the information's there. And Leslie's saying DYMA was definitely life-changing for me. I highly recommend. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I get incredible feedback from people that it's life-changing. And I will mention now, I used to have to fly into Los Angeles to do it. And one time a woman actually flew in from New Zealand, went to it, and then flew back home. And my mother was still alive at that time. And my mother, who grew up during the Depression, was like, somebody flew from New Zealand for your workshop? And she goes, I know your workshops are great, but that was so like science fiction to my mother. Okay, and I'll just read. Let me put a message in for somebody. Somebody was saying they can't hear me. So I was going to tell them something, then of course they can't hear me. So I just want to put that in the message. Okay. And John Felix talking about DYMA, go for it. It's brilliant. This will be my third one next week. And John, by the way, there's quite a few people on this Coach-A-Thon that are new to energy work or new to energetic NLP. There's people that have studied with me for years. So it's like a whole mixture. And somebody, let me just put one more message into the person who can't hear. Somebody was asking me if I could do closed captioning. If anybody knows how to do that, because I don't, you could put it in the chat. Okay, this might work. Okay, So let's set our group energy space. In everything, as I mentioned, energetic NLP, you just use your imagination. So we're going to set our group energy space, and then you're going to create your miraculous self, and then we'll do a meditation together, and then we'll start doing individual coaching. Energy follows your thoughts and intentions, and it sounds like that's way too easy, and it's the truth. Again, we have programming and stuff that can block us, but basically, if you imagine this gold energy in the room you're in, and if you were really relaxed about it and just went, oh, okay, this gold energy in the room I'm in, there would be gold energy in the room you're in. It sounds like that would be way too easy, and it in fact works that way. So everybody take a couple easy deep breaths. So again, the more playful you are with this, the easier you are with this, just use your imagination. And there's one other thing I did want to mention. I'm not going to take the time, but there's something called the Energetic NLP Pledge. And that is where you pledge that you won't believe anything I tell you. And that's because the goal in Energetic NLP is always that you connect more with your spiritual information. So the things that I say, I want you to consider. I don't want you to believe them. I just want you to consider them and play with them. And, I believe that when you get into the spiritual realms and energy realms, it's multidimensional, it's complex. It doesn't fit our little logical ways of thinking about things. And so I really want to urge you just to be playful with this. Even if you're dealing with very serious problems, while you're doing the energy work, just pretend like you're 5 years old and you're in a good mood and going, okay, all these energies are coming in and clearing blocks and transforming my life and opening up more of my full potential. Okay, just like it was a fun little game. Okay, so I will describe some things as visualizations. If you're a good visualizer, great. If you're like I used to be, I used to think I couldn't visualize. And if you have trouble visualizing, there's a trick, there's a hack. You pretend you're visualizing. If you pretend you're seeing it, your unconscious mind will see it, and that's all you need. So imagine there's this giant gold ball of energy, and we're using gold energy because it's a very neutral, very powerful spiritual energy. There's a reason kings and queens wore gold crowns and a lot of gold jewelry. It brings in a certain energy. In fact, I went in a gold mine once. So it's like I think we were 3/4 of a mile down and a mile in. And the energy was, I was trying not to act too weird. It was something I was doing for work on a leadership program. I was leading for them. And but the energy was amazing. So imagine there's this giant gold ball of energy, and it's our energetic NLP Coach-A-Thon space. And let's just imagine, let's declare it's a space of miracles. It's a space of effortlessness. It's a space where you will automatically let go of unconscious beliefs, old conscious beliefs that limit you, problems with self-esteem, old emotional traumas, old programming, karma, spiritual contracts, whatever your spirit and wisdom want you to let go of, that you'll be letting go and clearing a lot of that. And at the same time, this is a space where your miraculous abilities are going to blossom. So we're clearing what blocks you, and we're enabling what allows you to blossom and have a happier, more successful, more profoundly satisfying, loving, healthy, vital life with the great emotional life. Oh, and somebody mentioned, I feel resentment in my chest, but as I enter my golden sphere, it's softening. Fantastic, you're getting it. So easy, deep breaths. And there were a couple of questions about Daima. If you click on the link, it gives you all the information. Okay, easy, deep breaths. So imagine we're in this golden ball of energy that's filled with joy, where you feel loved, acknowledged, appreciated. Imagine from the earth, all these Mother Earth, Mother Nature energies are coming up. So even if you're in the middle of London or New York or Singapore, the Mother Nature, Mother Earth energies are still there. So just imagine all these incredible energies coming up into your body and into the room you're in. And if you've ever learned any physics, you know that what we think of as solid matter, actually is a lot of empty space. Most of our bodies, even a steel beam, while it's denser than our bodies, it's mostly empty space between the atoms and molecules. So you can think of objects as being sponges in a way. So just imagine whatever room you're in, the universal gold energy is filling the ceiling and the walls. So you're creating an energy space. And it's just no effort. It's just, ceiling's filling up with just soaking up this universal gold energy. The walls, the windows are soaking it up. No effort involved, just intention and permission. And imagine the floor is soaking up all these earth energies, these Mother Earth, Mother Nature energies. And if there's somebody else in the same room with you, that's fine. The energy can be set for you and set for them differently. So just imagine you're setting it for yourself. Imagine there's a magnet outside the room you're in. And just imagine any energies that are in the room you're in that aren't yours and aren't helpful. So not positive, negative. Energies are either yours or they're not. If they're not yours, they're either helpful or they're not. If they are yours, they either belong in present time or they don't. And an example of not belonging in present time is old, painful, traumatic energies that get stored in us, our own and other people's. So just imagine going out to the magnet, any energies that just easily go off now that aren't yours and aren't helpful, or are yours but don't belong in present time. And they just gently go off to that magnet. Just whatever comes off easily for right now, drop that magnet in the earth and let the earth recycle that energy. Excellent. And then imagine the room is filling with energies, that your spirit and your inner wisdom are bringing energies into the room that are healing, nurturing, loving, acknowledging, energies of positive transformation. Easy deep breaths. So now you've created an energy space. And something that we work on a lot in energetic NLP is being able to create an energy space, whether you're in a room in your home, whether you're at work, whether you're on a bus or a plane or a train. It's important to learn to always set the energy space. Because if you don't, the energies are just whatever they are. So we now set the energy space in the room you're in. And we're going to create your miraculous self. Or those of you who've worked with me before, think of it as you're evolving your miraculous self, increasing its abilities to communicate with your conscious mind, your unconscious mind, and your body. And the way you create your miraculous self is that your spirit and your deep inner human wisdom come together. So I should explain what I mean by the word spirit, because people use it differently. When I talk about your spirit, I mean the higher frequencies of your non-physical self, the higher frequencies of your non-physical self. So you can think of it as like you went above your head and your aura. The higher you go up, the more you're getting into your spirit. And eventually you would get into unity consciousness. But below that, you exist as an individual or as part of a group, but it's at a very high frequency level. And your spirit sees the big picture of your life. It knows why you were born, what you're doing this lifetime. It knows how the unfolding of your life is part of the unfolding of humanity and the unfolding of the universe. So whether or not you think your life is significant, all of us, everybody's life is part of this unfolding. There aren't any extra people on the planet. We're all doing something together. And your spirit knows what that is. The good news and the bad news about your spirit is that it's like the perfect parent. It's going, whatever you want, dear. So not because it doesn't care, but it's giving you a lot of freedom, and it sees a lot of things as valid spiritual paths, including things that you won't enjoy. You also have a deep inner human wisdom that's very practical. And your miraculous self is formed when your spirit and your deep inner human wisdom combined with one another align to nurture you, heal you, support you, and help you manifest, and to do it in a way where you are growing spiritually and personally, and where your life is happier, more meaningful to you, more successful, more filled with health and vitality. And not as a way to try to never have a challenge in your life, because human beings have challenges in our life, but so that you're always guided, nurtured, healed, and supported. So right now, and this is so easy, some of you will try to make it hard, to set your intention that your spirit and your deep inner human wisdom are going to form your miraculous self. Just set that intention. And then give 100% permission for that to happen. And the energy is coming in to help you with this. And the really magic ingredient is just imagine it's happening. Just pretend your spirit, your deep inner human wisdom are coming together. And know that when I use words like spirit, deep inner human wisdom, your essence, your conscious mind will try to figure out what that means. Just relax about that. Your spirit knows what all those words mean better than your conscious mind ever could. So just imagine your miraculous self is forming right now, and that it's easy. It just happens. And then imagine that it's formed. And then set your intention that for the rest of this Coach-A-Thon, your miraculous self will be in charge of how you benefit. It'll be in charge of what programming, karma, spiritual contracts or blocks get released or changed. And it will also be in charge of, as the old programming and beliefs dissolve, give your miraculous self permission to download into you information, wisdom, knowledge, concepts, skills, abilities, attitudes, and behaviors that will help you have a more miraculous life. And when I say a download, I mean similar to a download on your phone or computer. It's like you just make sure it's a trusted source and then let it come in and it gets integrated in. In the same way, when you get a download from your miraculous self, it is a trusted source. It's your spirit and your inner wisdom. And so you just let it come in and get incorporated into your personality. Okay, easy deep breaths. So just imagine you have a miraculous self. And let's start by this first. It's going to be a brief and still powerful meditation. So we're going to start bringing in energies to help you clear anything that limits or blocks you from receiving spiritual help. And wherever you think spiritual help comes from, God, Muhammad, Allah, Jesus, deities, saints, angels, guides, the collective consciousness, whatever your beliefs are, set your intention that we're going to be clearing blocks and opening up your ability to open up to more and more help from spiritual sources. So if you want that, you can just say yes to what Art said, I want that, or you can reword it if you want. You have 100% permission to receive it. So again, it's going to be a cleansing of what blocks you and an opening of your ability to receive spiritual help. All in the purpose of living a more miraculous life. You have 100% permission for your miraculous self, your spirit and wisdom, to be in charge. And by the way, sometimes we just call your miraculous self your M for short. So if I say your M, it means your miraculous self. It means your wisdom and spirit. And I love it. Somebody put in, I woke up grumpy today, and this has already helped immensely. Fantastic. Okay, easy deep breaths. And remember, no effort, relax, and just pretend the energy's coming in and doing its magic. And let your miraculous self and the energy do all the work. You set your intention, you gave permission. Now you can relax. And while that's happening, I'll explain just a couple of things. Your energy field is in you and around you in all directions. You have chakras, which are energy centers. You have energy channels, which connect them and do a lot of things in the body, sometimes called nadis or meridians, and there's different kinds of channels. You also have a lot more than 7 chakras. So most of you have heard about the 7 chakras. You have a lot more than 7 chakras. In your body, there's a number of them above your head, number of them in your head, and one's even below your feet. And your miraculous self knows all about that. So just give permission for the energy to be working anywhere in your energy field it needs to work. The chakras above your head hugely affect your life. They set the big frameworks for your life. The ones below your feet have a lot to do with your connection to the physical world and plants and animals, and receiving help from the physical world or on a physical level. And of course, your chakras in your body are doing all kinds of things. So just imagine your entire energy field, your chakras and your energy channels are being cleared and being activated so that more and more you receive spiritual help. Again, from wherever you think spiritual help comes from. Or if, like me, I just tell my miraculous self wherever you want it to come from, no matter what I believe. And it's very important. In energetic NLP, we do a lot of powerful clearing. Set your intention that whenever we're clearing energy, your miraculous self replaces it. It replaces it with, again, wisdom and knowledge and concepts, skills, abilities, attitudes, and behaviors from your miraculous self, from your spirit and your inner wisdom. It also will bring in more of your authentic essence. And again, your miraculous self knows what that is. And it brings in earth and universal energies that will help you live a more miraculous life. So it's clearing other people's energies, programming, karma, spiritual contracts, various things that block you. It's bringing in more of your essence. It's bringing supportive energies. It's also bringing in wisdom, knowledge, concepts, skills, abilities, attitudes, and behaviors from your miraculous self. And again, all you need to do is have that intention and give permission. Let your miraculous self be in charge. Okay, that energy is going to continue working with you lightly in the background. And lost my train of thought. That's going to continue to work with you lightly in the background. And I'll do some coaching. We'll do some more group work. But what I was going to say is set your intentions overall for how you'd like your life to improve as a result of what we're doing in this Coach-A-Thon. Remember, you're all being worked on the whole time. So even if you never get called on, you're going to be worked on. And something I haven't mentioned, one of the advantages of this kind of work, which I didn't understand originally at all until it was pointed out to me. I mean, 35 years ago, I thought, oh, well, group work was just making it more accessible to people. People will bring things up that will cause resonance in you. Either it might be the opposite or it might be a similar thing. That helps your miraculous self identify things to work on. When I do these kind of programs, people bring things up that often I go, oh, I hadn't even thought about that, but I have a match for that. And it's something I've just been accepting in my life. I'm like, oh, could work on that. So you can always ask that your miraculous self is working on in you, whatever's getting activated by what people are bringing up. And set your intentions overall, how you want to benefit, what kind of mental, emotional, spiritual, or physical healing you might want help with. Any areas of your life, you can think of it in two ways. What you want less of in your life. So maybe you're anxious all the time and you want to have less anxiety. And what do you want more in your life? Maybe more confidence, more sense of security, more playfulness, more lovingness, more acceptance, whatever it is for you. Okay. Let me start with Julia, if you want to unmute.
Yes, hello. Hi, thank you. Really appreciate this. I am still dealing with a lot of regret and anger over, the past.
Yeah.
And I think that translates into hopelessness about the future. And I just can't seem to shake it. Everyone's like, oh, just get over it. I don't seem to be able to let it go.
Yeah. Well, as we all know, people think it's just get over us. Get over it. That rarely works. Occasionally. So take a couple easy deep breaths. So it's resentment, anger, hopelessness. Take a moment and this is for everybody. In energetic, we do a lot of work on emotional states, particularly like in things like the M Club, the longer program. But with every emotional state, start by thanking it. There's a positive intention with every emotional state, even the ones we don't like hopelessness. Because sometimes hopelessness is a good thing. Sometimes it's like I need to give up on a certain thing. It's like, not that this is one of my dreams, but I'm not going to be a professional basketball player. If that was one of my dreams, it'd be a good thing to let go of because it is hopeless. But a generalized hopelessness about the future is a problem. So any emotional state you can mention has a positive use. So start by thanking your unconscious mind that it can give you these kind of states, and just start explaining to it that these are being triggered off inappropriately in ways that aren't helpful. Easy deep breaths. Oh, and somebody did mention, if you want to raise your hand, it's a little different depending what you're on, but if there's reactions at the bottom of the screen, click on that and you can raise your hand. I forget how it works on the phone. Somebody can put it in the chat if you want. But Julia, okay, take a deep breath. And for anybody who has anything, any issues, resentment, anger, which lots of us do, hopelessness. So we're not trying to eradicate the ability to have those. What happens is that we store energy from other people and from our past in us, and we store mental and energetic patterns that trigger these things off inappropriately.
Well, and it's regret that I can't change the past. I can't change where I've ended up.
Well, that's what regret is, that we can't change the past. So the potential usefulness of regret is that when it motivates us to have less regrets in the future, to do things so that we're going to have less. But there's also, and this is for everybody, part of regrets is this big shoulds. Things should have been different than they were. I should have been different. Other people should have been different. And with your permission, we're just going to dissolve a lot of that, it being as it should. Because your past was what it was. Now we can send energies into your past, which we're starting to do now, to improve things, or at least to improve your experience around whatever happened. Here we go. Keep affirming that you're willing to let go of these patterns. Again, not that you'll never have regret, but this pattern of regret and anger that doesn't serve you, and hopelessness. Give 100% permission that you're ready to be done with those. Now, we may not get there all the way today, but we'll at least make it a lot better. And again, for all of you, take easy, deep breaths and let energy come in and start healing and clearing old emotional patterns that aren't serving you. These habitual patterns of emotions we get into. And also give permission to pull out of our space other people's energy. So there's quite a bit of that regret energy isn't even yours. And the same with the anger and the hopelessness. So give 100% permission that we can remove that energy that's from other lifetimes, other people. It doesn't belong in the here and now. And this is for everybody. As I mentioned, we don't talk about positive, negative energies in energetic NLP. It's either yours or it's not yours. If it's not yours, it's either helpful or it's not. And it's very powerful when you can just think of it that way and get out of labeling it negative and positive, which gets you in a trap. It's just not yours, not helpful, so it can leave. And also these old painful energies that were your authentic emotions, but they don't belong in the present. And give more permission to let go of, there we go. And this isn't conscious, Julia, but there's some programming in your space that's resistant to letting you see the possibilities in your future, to let you see them and really feel them and be encouraged by them. So just give 100% permission for that to be updated. And while this isn't true for a lot of people, there's quite a few people in their 70s, 80s, even 90s that finally their life gets a lot better. You know, they make some really big shifts. And we usually think that it has to go the other way around, and it doesn't. So there we go. That's getting better. Julia, what I'm getting is, you know how people do gratitude work, or they'll do like at the end of the day, a gratitude list for things they're grateful. I'm getting it would be great for you. You could do it in the morning, at night, or a little bit both. Take some time appreciating the decisions you're making now that are at least pretty good or okay. And even just really small ones, like I could have eaten something unhealthy and I didn't, whatever they'd be for you. And start building up your awareness and your appreciation for when you're making good decisions. And what I'm hearing is that'll really help rewire things and get you oriented more around the present and the future and open up more hope. Because what I'm being told is that you, like so many of us, focus on your regrets, but you don't put enough energy on focusing on the positive decisions and things you've done in your life, which again, sometimes can be just the things you didn't do that you could have done. Is that helpful? Are you there, Julia?
Sorry, I was on mute.
No, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Art. Get
You're
that.
welcome.
Yeah.
And the energy
Yeah,
will
I'll
keep
work on that.
with you. I'm going to call him the next person, but the energy will keep working with you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. And my read is, I think this next portion of your life could be incredibly better than you think it could be. That it could have a lot of happiness in it. It's what I'm being told.
Yeah, it's going to have to change because I'm not going to do this much longer.
Yeah, but yeah.
Thank you.
But really focus on, again, on, as you go through the day, like all the little micro decisions you make that are good ones. And you'll start building in a very positive feedback loop in yourself, is what I'm hearing.
Thank you.
Similar to the gratitude thing that people do. Okay.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And, let me know how you're doing in a couple of weeks. Drop me a note. Leslie, go ahead and unmute.
Yes, thank you. Okay, in 2022, I started offering a new service that was a new skill set for me. I really enjoyed it, but about 9 months into it, I was just overwhelmed. And so I decided to stop, regroup, try to simplify. And now, a year later, I have not started back. And I want to start back, but there's resistance.
Yeah.
I want help with that.
Yeah. And some of that resistance is just, the inertia that we all get when we stop doing something and then kind of enjoying not doing it.
Yes.
So part of it just kind of, you're recognizing, to use a different example, people who exercise regularly, they've already pre-decided it's going to happen. So they don't even think about whether they feel like it. It's like 5 o'clock on Wednesdays, I exercise, or whatever, whatever it is. So part of it is so that kind of practical thing, like setting up, put in your calendar some specific times you're going to be working things, and start easy and work your way up, and just know the momentum will grow. But there's some other stuff. So let's look at that. And for everybody who's having that inertia or procrastination or putting things off that you really want to get started. One thing I am getting is, and this is something that I'm often amazed at where I haven't done this in my own life, is when you think about whatever this is, think about the parts you don't like about it, and then put some effort into thinking, can you improve them? Can they be changed in some way so that you like them better? Because it looks like there's things you could adjust. So I know for me, there were things I did in programs in the past that I thought they had to be a certain way. And there were certain things I didn't like about it. And then kind of going like, well, I'm making this up. Can I make it up differently so I like it more? So I think give yourself permission to adjust it. And, it's not going to be perfect, but I think you can make it a lot more appealing. And the other thing, and this is lighting up a number of people, is it gets disconnected from your why, your sense of purpose on it. And I'll bet a lot of people can relate to that. So let's bring in energy for all of us to connect our sense of purpose more with what we're doing in our lives or not doing. It's both. And give your miraculous self permission to more automatically set that up where it fits. And again, there's certain things might fit your purpose, but you don't want to do them. Steve Andreas, who wrote a number of the early books in NLP and neurolinguistic programming, was a prolific writer. And part of his strategy was that for him, it was all about how people are going to benefit from the books. I mean, it was, he didn't care about fame. In fact, if you asked him to autograph one of his books, he hated it. He'd go, okay, I'm taking an invisible pen and signing it. I don't know why he hated it, but he did. As to him, it was all about the other person. And he realized at one point, and it wasn't really conscious till he paid attention, that every word he wrote, there was this little visceral hit of like, oh, people reading the book when it's done and their lives getting better. So even like from the first word of the book, he's getting these hits that are fulfilling his sense of purpose. And he said, even if he crosses out a word, he has the same experience. So and give permission for your miraculous self to start connecting to your sense of purposes, because I think we all have more than one, to the things that you want to do. And if they don't connect, you really become aware of that too, and either adjust them so they do or change them. And for everybody, it's great to have your purposes as, mission statement kind of things, or if you want, or visions. But even more important is that deep connection to them. So I don't know about you, I can't necessarily articulate my purposes that well, but there's times when I really feel it. Like I know my life's on track. This is what I should do. I mean, when I first started learning NLP, it was really expensive. I was having to take all this vacation time. And for those of you who are Americans, we don't get that much vacation time. So, there was a lot of both financial and time and vacation. I was putting a lot into it. And people would go, well, people who knew me and family would go, you're happier, you're like a different person. Obviously this is helping you, but what are you going to do with it? And I'd always go, I don't know, I don't care. I just know I'm supposed to learn it. It says like, I don't have to know beyond that. I can feel that. So for all of you who want it, set your intention that when you're thinking about things that your miraculous self really wants you to do, more and more it gives you that kind of visceral hit, maybe, what they call a dopamine hit, or, I don't know how it would work, but something comes in that encourages you to do it. If you don't know the whole dopamine thing, that a lot of things on the internet and things like Netflix and a lot of good books and movies and stuff, they keep activating you. You keep getting these little rewards, but they also, it's a built-in motivation, which is why somebody can go, I spent all of Saturday watching 3 seasons of Game of Thrones or something, and I can't believe I did that. But there's a positive use for that. So all of you want to ask your miraculous self to start working with your motivation and your commitment, and really guiding you, that when it's something it really wants you to do, that it makes you drawn towards it. So rather than feeling like you have to force yourself to do it, you feel pulled into it. So everybody take a deep breath. I'm sure a lot of you would like more of that. No, but you and I have that. I love that feeling. It's like, and with NLP and with energy work and spirituality, it was like, tried to stop me from doing it. It was like, And there's a lot of old congested energy in your heart chakra that we're starting to clear, and it blocks a lot of that joy in doing these things. This will fit for at least some of you. I like to think of it as puppy energy, you know, like puppies want to do things, you know. It's like, I want puppy energy about doing things, you know, wagging my tail and the whole thing, you know. There's also the third chakra, the solar plexus. It's clogged up. And for everybody, your solar plexus has a lot to do with a lot of things, but your personal power and energy moving through your, distributing through your body, you know, has a lot to do with doing things. And they can get clogged up. So for everybody, you might just set your intention right now. Energy is coming through and working on everybody's third chakra and any other chakras that are needed, but lightly focusing on the solar plexus, the third. For those of you that are new to energetic NLP, while chakras have individual functions, all your chakras, your whole energy field is a system. So lots of things are affecting lots of things. It's the same as with your body. You might be having digestive problems. Well, that might be emotional, it might be mental, it might be glandular, you know, it could be in your gallbladder, you know, that just because your digestion's happening in your stomach doesn't mean that that's, you know, the cause, where the causes are of either working well or not. So in the same way with your chakras, the solar plexus, for instance, has a lot to do with personal power, but so do all the other chakras, you know, in their different ways. Now, I don't know if you can feel that, but your third chakra is looking a lot better, I think. Good. For the historical record, she gave a thumbs up. So we'll keep the energy working with you, and I'm going to call on Sarah. So Sarah, if you'd unmute.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I feel lighter from the work you've done with the other people.
Fantastic.
The reason I put my hand up is I used to feel what you described of being drawn and being very intuitive about things I was doing. And in the last year, I've lost my momentum. My energy levels are just in the toilet.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of people experiencing that because the whole human energy fields on the earth are rapidly changing, you know, and it's why there's so many interesting things happening in the world right now. So part of that is going around, but I think you're a little bit in the goo at the moment, and being in the goo is not a bad thing. So let me explain what I mean.
Thanks.
Some of you may know that when a caterpillar is in the chrysalis, it becomes goo. It falls apart completely. But it falls apart so it can reform into the butterfly. And for people that are attracted to energetic NLP, it's common for us to go in and out of the goo because we're changing. And it looks like you're making some really deep, high, whatever way you want to think of it, changes. And it all looks really good to me, but you're just a bit in the goo at the moment where things aren't as motivating because you haven't reformed to your next butterfly stage. I mean, there'll be more in the future. Does that resonate when I say that?
Tears are coming into my eyes. It's just the goo has been, it feels like a long goo.
Yeah, and it's not fun because we think we're supposed to be doing things, you know, these things. And so you're reforming, and we'll just we'll help with that. And the first thing is to go, some of this is fine. It doesn't seem fine because of all the practical stuff, But on a bigger level, it looks like you've been where you should be, and now it's time to I mean, you already are doing the restructuring into this next butterfly. But it takes a lot of energy falling apart into goo. You know,
I'm so tired, and I'm not sleeping either.
yeah. I'll help you a little bit with that. For those of you, I have a program, it's a free one online called blockbuster7.com. Maybe somebody could put it in the chat. Just the word blockbuster, the numeral 7.com. And you get 4 videos over 4 days. And use those to help you with what you're going through right now. And you can use those before. The techniques you'll learn in those are good to do before you go to sleep. Because when we go to sleep, if we haven't cleared our energy, we're processing it when we sleep. And we're processing the energy in the room. So if you go through the Blockbuster 7, you'll be learning how to clear the energy in the room, which can be as simple as, like we did at the beginning, imagining a magnet, having your miraculous self clear out of the room, energies that are going to interfere with your sleep, bring in energies that will help you sleep. And it doesn't work 100% of the time, but it works. Oh, thanks, Gianna. It works a lot of the time, and
Yes,
not only sleep better, but sleep deeper. So it's a more rest, because as all of you know, you can be asleep, but sometimes you wake up and you don't feel rested because you've been processing like crazy. And it's one of the things people learn to do in our programs is clear their energy before they go to bed, bring in good energies. I can't believe that. Bring in helpful energies. And we don't go good, bad. Bring in helpful energies, and do the same thing in the morning when you get up. I think now this could speed up. It may be a few months before you really have that strong butterfly structure, but things can already start getting a lot better. And part of it is just tuning into yourself and noticing that you're processing a lot of stuff, and that and start little bits of getting into action. So again, you start getting that momentum going again. And because I think you have what a lot of us have is often when we haven't been doing much, then we want to jump in and do a ton. And it's kind of like if you haven't been exercising and then you want to run 6 miles, like not a good idea. And so let yourself start building up to it. And I'm also getting to schedule a little time each day, could start with 15 minutes where there's certain things that you'll definitely do, just even little things to get the momentum going. Is that helpful?
I appreciate what you're picking up. And I feel lighter in general. I was exhausted when I came on the call.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I feel more in balance.
Yay.
So thank you. And I've signed up to your program next weekend, and I think I've done Blockbuster, but I think I need to do it more regularly. So thank you.
Oh, great. I bet you'll be at Dyma. Fantastic. Yeah. Discovery America. Yeah, that's going to be, the energy is really building. And when I teach in the UK, I always go, I'm American, so I'm going to be a little crude and rude. It's going to be an amazing life-changing. The energy is super building. There's going to be wonderful people in the group. There'll be at least 100 people. There may be more. So we're going to have a lot of group energy, which is cool. By the way, there's 132 of us on this call right now, which is nice.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And somebody put in the chat that they're thanking you for bringing that up, and that she feels as well.
Bless.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Rafi, am I saying it right?
Yeah, that's right.
Great.
So I guess what I wanted to bring to this session is, and I was feeling a quickening just thinking about offering it in like a group, but So, I'm human, right? So I thrive in connection and community and collaboration, but I keep them all at bay for myself and others. So like I've always been a lone wolf, which has had a compound detrimental effect on
Yeah.
my social and mental health. And so you asked for, or you talked about having a list of like what you want and don't want. So I wrote some things. So what I'd love is like fulfillment and connection with friends and family, relational health, community, collaboration, just healthy relationships. And then what I don't want, and like some I guess some elements is like these are lifelong things. And I've moved through into like stages of healing it, and then I retract back into like it's like a ping pong. And so like outcast, isolation, disconnection, loneliness, dysfunction, and I've been ostracized when I was younger, and I think that's just it never really lifted. And so the polarity is like connection or addiction, because I have addictive tendencies that come into play with all this. And so I know I'm not alone in it. I know
This is a great one. It's lighting up lots of people. So again, connection and clearing things that cause you to have the disconnection and the loneliness and addictive behaviors. And you talked about the ostracizing. A lot of people that are attracted to this kind of work, we were kind of different. So a lot of people have experienced that. If somebody put in the chat, you're definitely not alone.
Yeah, to
So-
own that I'm outstanding is like the other side of it. And I've had that. And then now I'm back in like, I look around and I'm lonely. Even if I could find myself around people, I have that dark loneliness in me again. And
Yeah. So got it. So put your miraculous self in charge. And for everybody, give permission. So even in physics now, they talk about the present can affect the past. So we're going to be working with energies in the present, but we're also going to be working with energies in the past to help that younger you with how he dealt with the ostracism. And in one way you can help that while I'm working on you is imagine you could go back in a time machine and what would you, if you could have gone back and talked to that younger you, how would you help him deal with it? Yeah, yes, but you're not alone in feeling alone. Great comment. So everybody take a deep breath. And they talk about there's an epidemic of loneliness in the world right now, they say. Well, in the world, a lot of the world. And let's all set our intentions that our miraculous self can just naturally help us connect with people to be great to connect with and build stronger relationships. My personal belief is that our spirits out there talking to other spirits, and that it can bring, your spirit can talk to somebody else and go, oh, let's arrange for our bodies to meet so we can have a relationship. So let's bring an energy of letting it be more magical. And I feel compelled to tell this story, so I'm going to follow my guidance. And this is talking about romantic relationships, but it's the same idea that we get all logical about what it will take to meet people, and that's useful, but it also can just be miraculous. And there was a true story in San Francisco years ago, back when you couldn't check into a flight online, you had to stay in line. So this man and woman are standing in line to get on a flight. They don't know each other, and the guy behind the counter looks at the two of them and goes, "The two of you are together, right?" And they looked at each other and went, yeah. And so he gave them seats together, and they ended up getting married. They'd never met before. So, we want to bring the logic into it, but let's bring the magic into it too, that your miraculous self can help you. It's not so much even you bringing the people in, it's like you bring each other into each other's lives. People that will really create more enjoyment and enhancement in each other's lives.
Wow, I think that's my regret, to look back at that topic that was covered, is like what I haven't been available to give
you know, I kept it not just for myself, but from all the others.
Yeah, and let that regret become a fuel to like, okay, you know, I want my present, my future to be different. There's a concept in NLP of like, well, it's not just in NLP, but the idea of taking care of your future self. And one of the advantages of regret is so we can promise our future self to take care of it. So just relax. There's a lot going on with you energetically right now. And for everybody, just let the magic come in about relationships and again, this isn't specifically for you at all, but for those of us that want romantic relationships, often people start going, well, what about this? What about that? And what if they're this way? It's kind of like, well, tell your miraculous self what you want, you know, without getting, you know, over perfectionistic about it. But just be clear, like, I don't want to be involved with somebody who's a flake or who's going to destroy me financially or, you know, or whatever. Just kind of be clear, like, no. And for all of you, just, it's amazing how often we haven't set a clear intention that we want more friends or whatever in our lives. So for everybody, if you want that, just be clear. Like, I remember years ago here in Los Angeles, I had some friends who died and stuff, and I was thinking I really would like some more like-minded friends, you know, more aligned with who I am now.
Yeah.
You know, and then I thought, oh, you know, there's some meditation groups. Maybe I'll go to some of those. I'll probably meet, and you know, end up making some of my best friends now, you know. So it was a mixture of guidance and, you know, actually putting myself out there a little bit. The other thing that you don't have a strong awareness that you can be very attractive. And I mean, on any level of attractiveness. And just, it's okay to acknowledge that attraction is a lot spiritual and energetic. And that, you know, it's like, yeah, there's people that you're not attractive to, but they're not the people you want as your friends or whatever, you know, and just really put out there that, like, yeah, there's a lot of people I'm like the perfect friend for, the perfect partner, perfect whatever. There you go.
When you talked about putting yourself out there, like I'll get out there, but then I stay in myself.
Yeah.
And I'm lonely around, surrounded by possible connection. And like when I let go, I'm like, what? That was so easy. So what was keeping me from it?
Yeah.
I suffer through that on this, like,
Well, and yeah, well, and again, that's the past. So we went about present, future,
thank
but
you.
just clear. And by the way, nowadays you can go online and like there's things like how to make small talk and how to, you can even go to things like chat and go, I'm going to be at a party. I don't know people. What are conversation starters? I mean, I'm serious. It's like people have figured this stuff out.
I'd rather those deep, authentic connections, and I'm great at dropping in deep with like-minded others. And the small talk, the bantering, it's like it's past me. But I've seen that when you slow down for, like, you know, for the small things, there can be really profound. So I could see some richness being able to develop there too.
Yeah, and small talk isn't necessarily actually small talk. It just appears like it is. You know, these are part of how we get to know people. But just really set your intention to be more guided in all this. And a friend of mine used to say years ago, I have a deal with the universe. You know, I tell it what I want, and when it shows me what to do, I do it. You know?
That's what was coming through when you're talking about the magical. I was like, you know what, that sounds great to just let go to whatever mystery wants to unfold instead of like putting my mind around it.
Yeah. Easy deep breaths, and we're going to keep working with you. And I'm going to call on Kim. How are you feeling now, though?
Thank you. That was wonderful. I feel lighter.
Yeah, yeah, and we're going to keep it going here. Okay, Kim.
Hey, Art.
Hey.
I would like help with, oh, there's my dog. I would like help with that I am not making as much money as I think I should be.
Okay.
Especially in comparison to the comments I get about my work. And a parallel thing with that is that I have an opportunity to join a group of healers where I might be able to make more money. And so I wanted to kind of feel that part out too.
And Kim is in the M Club, you know, the year-long program, and she's very, very talented.
Thanks, Art.
Yeah, so just bringing that up because I know your work's really good. And yes, I remember this woman tell me about a guy. He spends a day and a half with people so they'll be happier. And it's like, and he, you know, it does come to you. It's like $140,000 or something for a day and a half.
Oh, wow.
And I think you're probably a lot better than he is at. I'm not saying he isn't, but the hit I get is you would be way better at it than him.
Thank you.
Take a deep breath and let's really give permission for your beliefs around money to be dissolved and get replaced by miraculous stuff. Just money, what you charge, what things are worth. When I first started doing energetic NLP, it had been a nice car, but it had gotten old, and I'd have to drive across the Golden Gate Bridge or the Bay Bridge in San Francisco, and it'd be in the back of my mind, hope it's not going to break down. I mean, it never did, but and I had two different clients that I was giving big discounts to because they didn't have any money. And both of them, they didn't know each other at some point, tell me about their new cars. Now, they were used cars, but they were way better than my car. And I thought, I'm giving them a big discount. I'm driving this really old car, and and like, what's wrong with this picture? I mean, I was happy for them, don't get me wrong, but I'm thinking like, I don't think they needed the discount. I wasn't charging that much to begin with. There you go. And for people like you, Kim, and a lot of people on the call, keep in mind that you can charge what the work, not what you're worth, what the work is worth. And, it isn't what you're worth. People talk about, well, charge what you're worth. It's like, charge what the work is worth. And that you can always give discounts. You can always do free work, So, like for me, I have lots of free stuff, and I have stuff that's not super expensive, but it's not cheap. That's for sure. So just, what this means. And for those of you who don't worry about it, just use the eye of God energy and just keep dissolving all this programming stuff around money and charging. And just over the coming days, give your miraculous permission to reprogram you on it. And doing that will help you and help the world. And this is for everybody. I mean, there's so many people out in the world who can do great work, who aren't able to make it do as successful as business as it could be or should be. So they stop doing it and they do something else, or they don't do much of it. So keep in mind that you're being successful at this means you get to help tons of people. And you can do as much low cost and free stuff as you want, and also be charging what's fair for the transformation you're making people's lives. And Sarah Beth put, love that change what the work is worth versus separating from my worth. Yeah, I know people mean well when they go, charge what you're worth. It's kind of like, well, we're all worth $1 trillion. I mean, what does that mean? You know, um, but it's what the work it's worth. And there you go. Can you feel that something's shifting now?
I can. Thank you.
And just be really clear that you don't want any of the past life, familial, ancestral. You know, you're getting rid of everybody else's thoughts about money and charging and all of that, and your miraculous self is going to replace whatever's just right for you right now. And that, but just being really clear, not only does it help you, but it will make the world a better place. You know. Okay, I'll keep working with you. And Steiner, if you would unmute.
Yeah, thank you. It's been great being on here and listening to all and you. And I've been on before, and a case that went wrong 14 years ago is now coming up again. And I have a chance to rectify everything and win my lost 5 million back. So I look forward to that opportunity, but it's a very difficult case of opponent, which is very effective in doing the opposite of what's going on here. So though I've done lots of work to compensate, and I'm in on much good and in the most lovely relationship, I haven't taken it all out into business yet. I feel it's coming now with new people on the team that augments the great people already in, and that we have a new drive in the company, and that
So,
things will happen. But I really want you to tune into this.
okay, so the case and the company things, are those connected?
Yeah, they're kind of separate, but also connected, because
Okay.
my winning the case, of course, will help to release the pressure on my back to stand up against these two. Yeah.
Great. So there's help with the case and help with the business, right?
Yeah, but you can focus on the first, because helping with the case will release high potential in the company. Yeah.
Right. So take a couple of easy, deep breaths, and
yeah.
I'm trying to think how to say this, because naturally you have all kinds of emotional reactions about the case.
Oh yeah.
It helped the more, and don't try to suppress that, but you know, when you think about it and the emotions come up, that you let them run for a while, but then try to get to more like practical, neutral about it, like kind of like Mr. Spock. So don't suppress the initial stuff. But years ago, I worked with some really good stock traders. I was helping them with, because their emotions would throw off their stock trading, and they knew it. And it was kind of a joke. They wanted to be cold-blooded stock traders, they call it, where, it's not about my ego. It's not about, because for those who don't know, like with stock traders, sometimes they'll make bad decisions because they'd rather have a little tiny win than a little tiny loss, where, financially it really didn't make any difference, but sometimes trying to get that little tiny win so that their ego would feel better, they'd end up with a big loss when they could have taken a little loss and moved on. But the point I'm trying to make is this idea of being able to at times switch into a very like cold-blooded way when you think of it. So let yourself have the emotions and then go, okay, now I'm Mr. Spock, or however you want to think of it, or Robot Man, and I'm just going to be logical about this and separate it out from all the other things it gets connected to. So with your permission, we're going to disconnect it from a lot of the meanings that get put on it that aren't helpful. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel that.
Yeah, you're doing a good job. A few years back, somebody who was sponsoring some of my programs cheated me out of a lot of money. And I was talking to my business coach at the time, and she's going, just, it's not going to be worth, it wasn't $5 million. That's different. For mine, they're going like, it's not, even if you win, it's not going to be worth the time and energy you're going to have to put into suing them and blah, because it wasn't anything like the money you're talking about. And she goes, just chalk it up to a learning experience, and that business people, things happen. You get cheated, you get lawsuits and stuff. So just being able for me to be able to get out of being angry about it and just being able to go, I honor my anger, and like, I'm not going to stay there. It's like, now I'm going to make calculated decisions, and my calculated decisions are just move on. Not, now I'm not saying that for you, the move on part, but what I'm saying is just being able to get into like, this is about $5 million. And it's just, did you ever see The Godfather or read it?
Yes, but it's a long time ago. And actually, since the last time we talked, and I feel really that this time you get deeper into releasing something. And what's cool is that I've been able to make an investment that, unlike the world crashes in a year or a year and a half until that company sells, I'll get much more back than I lost. So that on the horizon is like making it easier to not be so emotional about this, because I know that already next month I'll start getting dividend, and that will pay more than what I paid in. But when the company sells, it's going to be amazing. So that helps me in the emotional field as well. It was harder before, and maybe that's why your work now really releases something also.
Yeah, it could be. And for everybody, that reason I was bringing up The Godfather, and it's worth watching again, is Marlon Brando plays the Godfather. One of his strengths is, even when, like one of his sons get killed, he's able to go, he's grieving on one level as a father, but as the head of his mafia group, is like, it was a business decision they did, and I just need to deal with it. It wasn't personal, and he had this great gift to both at times be the grieving father, but at other times like, okay, now I'm the head of my group, and I need to just treat this in a very logical way, because if I get emotional, and the reason his son got killed is he got all emotional and didn't do what his father taught him. So again, it's the honoring all the emotion, and then go, okay, putting on my CEO cap here, and now I'm just cold-blooded, and it's, how do I win the case? It's not personal either way. It's just about the money.
All right.
Okay.
Very much.
Yeah, thank you. Let me know how it goes.
Yeah,
And,
thank you.
yeah, Chris, and unmute.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. I think I'm coming out of the goo, and I think I'm starting to have actual wings, and I'm not exactly, I need clarity and direction.
Okay, you want help with clarity and direction? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. Okay, put your miraculous self in charge, and anybody else who wants more clarity and direction. So what I'm getting is like, I was going to say first step, is the next step. Spend some time just imagining different possible great, scenarios for your life, for this part of your life. And don't nothing practical, just kind of do some daydreaming and do at least 2 or 3 of them, like different ways you could go, and just start enjoying the fantasy of it. And then after a week or so of that, then start going, well, I wonder what's possible. And it's something that got mentioned earlier, the whole idea of really thinking, what is it that we'd want to create? What is not what we think we could do, but start by like just really fun fantasies. Well, this would be incredible. That you go like, this would be phenomenal, and then play around with this for about a week, and then start going, well, what is possible out of all this? And when years ago, when I was managing this research lab for the University of California Medical School in San Francisco, and it was a good job and everything, but I knew it wasn't where I should be anymore, and I had no idea what I wanted to do. And then I'd meet people, like I was in Hawaii, and I was talking to this guy, and during the summer in Alaska, he's a bush pilot, and he takes people on trips, and has a lot of fun, fishing, hunting, whatever. Just people want to get out in the wilderness. And then when it gets cold in Alaska, he does boat trips in Hawaii. And I'm thinking, how do people even come up with this? I would never even have thought of doing something that fun. Or one thing that really helped me get unstuck is this guy, Bruce Honig, was teaching a course on creativity. And that sounds normal now, but this was back in '83. And I'd never heard of anybody teaching creativity. And I remember thinking, you could make money doing something that fun. It was like, I thought you had to find a job, in a career. And but even afterwards, there are times when I'd listen to people who just would talk about, well, I just, with my business, I always think, what would be the most fun way to do this? And then that's the way I do it. And I'm thinking like, duh, kind of thing. So we're working with the energy too, but I think it's a matter of you just having really fun with the possibilities, and include some wild ones and everything, and then start going, okay, what do I want to create? Because you are getting those wings, and it's a matter of that you've come out of the goo, they're forming, but you're and maybe I should start with this, but it looks like your perspective is small. It's conventional, and it's time to open it up and just see what happens. And you may end up doing something that was conventional, but it'll still be different. Is that helpful?
Yeah, may I just say that one of the things that before I actually spoke was, I feel like I've never learned how to play. And, you brought in fun and you brought in play, and those words are so powerful to me that it increased gratitude. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And some years ago, a friend of mine was, some of you know Jeff Tamber, and he's very good at energetic NLP and a lot of other things. But he was talking about some of what he thought was really important about energetic NLP. And he goes, it's about entering a world of playful transformation. And part of my mission is getting people out of that. Transforming our lives has to be just a serious work, and that and I'm not saying there isn't effort involved, but it can be playful, it can be fun, and again, not saying that it has to be playful and fun every minute, but this whole idea that like we put all these restrictions on what's possible, and then all of a sudden you go, wait a minute, this could be a lot more fun. It's like sometimes I'll lead a program. Not Dime is different; it's very organized. But sometimes I'll lead a program and I'll feel like, oh, I have to really know exactly what I'm doing. And then I'll get to the program and I'll change everything anyways, and it'll be way better than what I planned. And the planning was useful, but for those kind of programs, just giving myself more permission, it's just going to evolve as the day goes on, and we'll all find out what it is. And it'll, in the whole group energy will create it. So yeah, I think just giving yourself permission to have fun with this. And again, I'll be curious, a month or so, let me know how you're doing. And Valerie.
Hey, Art, I met you
Hey.
20 years ago, and it's so cool to see how your work has evolved. And I'm so glad you're still doing what you're doing.
I remember you, but I don't remember how we know each other, but I know we know each other.
It was through NLP training, actually. You were a support person with Tim Halbaum and Chris
Oh, yeah,
and Robert Diltz. So
thinking it might have been, well, how great.
yeah, I'd love to do the program this next week. However, I'm working during the day. Will it be recorded?
It won't be.
Okay.
It meant to be a live thing. But, there are some other things that are going to be coming up that I think you might like. So watch your emails. But then I don't record that one because it's intended to be this whole group energy. It's just online. So
Got it.
yeah, I'm sorry about it.
Okay. I do have a question for you. I find myself having a hard time getting traction. I feel like, I don't know if it's my energy is too fluid, if I'm too porous, but I tend to get scrambled and be overwhelmed. And then I don't feel like I'm able to make a lot of headway and movement forward. And
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you have any suggestions. And I have great Qigong practice with a master who is,
Mm.
like rainbow body kind of thing, I just came back from taking a bush flight in Alaska, actually, and I came and it was phenomenal and I loved it. And I was fantasizing, what could I do with my life? And I have this gorgeous life on the central coast of California, but something's not right, and I can't get traction.
Got it. Okay. And again, anybody else that can relate to that in any area of your life, you can put that out there. Your your miraculous self. Working with the energy. I keep getting to say this, so I will. I don't think it's about traction. I think that's the wrong, a not helpful metaphor. I think it's kind of a subtle difference, but it's how sometimes a subtle difference is a big deal. If metaphorically, if this is your path, I mean, I think we're all on one level, we're always on our path, but if this is sort of your more ideal path, it's like you're over here. And okay, they're starting to clear some of the old program. There's something that's distorting it a little bit, and it's not hugely off, but it's just enough off that it's bothering you on the inner level. It'd be kind of like if you think of like an Olympic swimmer, to them, like a half a second's a big deal. To the rest of us, it'd be like, if I swam a half a second slower or faster, like, but it's kind of like that. It wouldn't necessarily seem like that big a deal to anybody else, but it's huge for you. And the energies are starting to close that gap, or narrow it. I keep getting, there's something drawing you that you keep kind of push aside. So you might meditate on and kind of ask, is there something really drawing me? And it's not radically different than what you're up to, but it's a big nuance. I don't know if you can feel that, but it's changing even as we're speaking. I don't so far have words for it really, but it's shifting. Part of it, there's a bunch of energy in your crown chakra that's interfering. It's other people. I think it's other people's opinions about what you should do with your life. So I'm going to clear a lot of that out. I mean, a lot of it's not even from this time. Some of it's ancestral, some of it's past lives, some of it's childhood programming. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling some ease. I feel like I'm settled a little deeper through.
Yeah.
I'm feeling some heart joy clarity.
Great. Yeah, just let it evolve and play with it. Because it looks like it's already happening, so yeah, I'll be curious. Let me know how that unfolds. But yeah, let me do a little more. Occasionally, when you are pondering what you want to do, lightly put your attention on your feet at the same time.
Okay.
And it'll help ground some of what's going on into your body and into your life more.
Okay.
So just kind of maybe sort of like an NLP term, sort of foreground, background, that you're just kind of aware of your feet while you're thinking about what you're going to do. And it helps bring it more fully into you. Yeah, that's it. Oh, that's a nice smile. So that looks good.
Thank you. And I'm really excited for everyone who's going to join you next week in the program. Thank you.
Oh, we'll miss you, and thank you for saying that. And is it Lara? Am I saying it right? Yeah.
Yes, you nailed it. Yes, yes. Nice to see you. Actually, I want to pin you so I can see you better.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. Hi. Thank you, everyone. Oh my goodness. I think I have two pieces. Maybe they go together. The first, I feel like, is more general in life right now, and the second came up in this call. So I'll say them backwards. The first is this feeling around my own, I can feel as I'm just sitting here, my own trepidation around what feels like kinks in the flow of giving and receiving, particularly in group spaces. So I imagine it's related to being seen. But I always have this moment of like, oh, do I want to offer something? Like, oh, do I want to receive something? I have it one-on-one with people too. I guess perhaps it's just amplified in larger spaces. So I'm curious about that, since I felt that here, which is why I was like, must raise hand.
Yeah, good for you. That's great.
And then the second thing, which is this bigger life, where I am in life right now. Shout out to everyone on the butterfly journey. I feel myself in a space where I've moved through I'm continuing to move through the spiritual evolution, and I'm really desiring the clarity of practical application. I feel like I've been dreaming into things and knowing what I love and desire, but it's really putting it into that structure, particularly as it pertains to career and business.
Got it. again, so being seen and career and business. Part of what's happening with the being seen, and this is lighting up a lot of people, is just a lot of us have a lot of ancestral stuff about not safe to be being seen.
Yeah.
So what I always like to do with ancestral stuff is I say hi to my ancestors and I go, thank you very much. And I don't live in your world. And often I'll kind of show them, my 21st century world. And it's kind of like, oh, it's definitely my ancestors didn't want to stand out, it wasn't safe. And that's true for, a lot of people have that kind of programming. So let's work on that. And this is for lots of us, if not all of us, that understand that how people react to us is a statement about our behaviors at most. It's not even always that. It's not a statement about us. Because people don't even really know us. I mean, a few people do, but and we take people's reactions to us and we let it affect us on an identity level, which isn't helpful. It's helpful to think of it in a behavioral level. So I remember years ago, one of my mentors in NLP was an amazing woman, Leslie Cameron Bandler, who developed a lot in NLP. And I didn't even know her yet. I was in a class with her and about 60 people. And I was just very straight talking about things. And I said something and she goes to the entire group. Well, and in NLP, you model things out that you want. She goes, well, if anybody wants to model out arrogance, they can model out art. And I was really mad. I was like seething. So the next break, I went up and talked to her. And I can't believe you said that to me. And she goes, Art, I'm not saying that you are arrogant, but you need to realize when you talk in that way, it sounds arrogant. And I went, oh, okay. Got it. It's like, because I'm thinking, well, I'm not arrogant, but when I could play it back, I went, oh, I could see how people could hear it that way. And she's just going, you just need to know that, you don't have to change it if you don't want to, but it's going to strike a lot of people as arrogant. And that was very valuable. But the whole thing for all of us is that we take other people's reactions and make it a statement about our beingness when it, rarely has, there's the few people who really know you well in the world. But for most people, it's nothing to do with our beingness. And usually even then it's when people recognize that we're out of sync with who we really are. So take an easy deep breath and let your miraculous self start to rewire. Again, these very normal human reactions that, and I'll also mention, we tend to forget that, human beings are, we're social creatures. And it's always been a big deal if the tribe didn't accept you. You could get punished, you could get banished. And, in a lot of societies, the ultimate punishment wasn't to kill you, it was to banish you. Because if they banished you, it either meant you were going to slowly die on your own, or you might get captured by another tribe and enslaved or eaten or, whatever. So we all need to recognize we all have a lot of programming, like it matters what people think about us. And happily, we live in a time and in parts of the world where you can be different and end up successful and rich rather than, burnt at a stake or something. So just take a deep breath and acknowledge, like, yeah, it's normal human stuff to get concerned about that. And just give your miraculous permission, though, to disconnect it from it being statements about who or what you are. It's just statements about how you're coming across, which, often I remember I was teaching a workshop once, and a woman I knew was in it. And every now and then she'd give me this really weird look. So during a break, I went, "What's going on with you?" And she goes, "I never noticed it before, but from certain angles, you look like my ex-boyfriend." And then later, and I went, "Oh, okay." I was trying to figure out why you're giving me that look. And she goes, "It's not personal. It's just, it makes me think of him in a not positive way." And so later that day, she gave me that look again, and I went, "I'm not him." And she and I cracked up, and everybody else is going, "What?" So this, people react to us with all their stuff about whatever they judge us physically, and how they interpret our behaviors. There you go. Can you feel that you're starting to loosen up about it?
Yeah. It feels like, like a part of my what I know to be true about my expression in the world is that I am a shapeshifter. And I feel like I've asked so many of my friends who feel connected to spiritual something like, "What do you know about shapeshifting? Like, somebody tell me about shapeshifting. I'm not sure." But yeah, I feel that there are these, as an artist, there are these whole identities that I am to take on. And that feels a little bit overwhelming to know. The arrogance example is perfect. To know that that's a frequency I'm meant to channel perhaps for this one particular thing, but then it's not me, it's gone. Almost like an actor, I guess.
Yeah, but that's a fantastic skill. If you realize, another mentor of mine, this amazing woman, her name was Hazel, quite amazing. And one time, this was like 37 years ago or something, she goes, you have to, and we hadn't been talking about this, and she goes, "You have to give up on this thing of having people understand you." And I went, "Why?" And she goes, "Well, how many people do you meet are capable of understanding you?" And I went, "Well," and she goes, "That's why." And she goes, "Allow yourself to be the great mystery. And then when you need to deal with somebody like a chameleon, you take a form that they can understand. And you go back to being who you really are. But whoever you're dealing with, and she's not wasn't about being phony, which is just, just what you were saying, take on persona that can work in that situation, that's okay with you too." And, that's a phenomenal skill. And it's just starting to recognize that whatever you are is the one who's playing, it's like changing your clothes. You're operating in different ways depending on who you're with, which is a delightful thing to do, but it's still you.
Yeah.
In my corporate work, I was coaching this guy once, executive at a corporation, and everybody really liked him, but he was a little rough around the edges. He was from New Jersey, and this was a California corporation, and everybody was California nice,
Yes.
like New Jersey, like in your face. But so people liked him, but he pushed a lot of buttons, and so they asked me if I would coach him, and I asked him if he wanted to be coached, and he did, and we had a great time together. And I went, "We're not trying to change you into a different person. I just want to give you more flexibility of behavior." So I go, "If you were going to learn a new way to dance, you wouldn't go there asking me to be a different person. You're just like, oh, you're learning to waltz, you're learning to hip hop, you're learning to tango. It's you doing different things." So I think the more you recognize it's always you, and you're just doing different dances. Is that helpful?
That's so helpful. The piece about the authenticity and integrity,
Yeah.
that's something that's been I don't know if struggle is the right word, but so for example, I'm trained as a linguist, and in English is my mother tongue. When I speak English with a different accent than something American, people are like, "Why are you doing that?" But when I speak Spanish with a Spanish accent versus a Dominican or Caribbean accent versus some other country, South America, it's like, well, it's okay because that's not my mother tongue. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's a big thing actually in NLP, about learning to adjust your behavior so it fits wherever you are. And, and it's not about being authentic. It's about having flexibility of behavior and being able to shift appropriately for the situation. But it's still you, it's still your values, it's still your integrity, it's still your thoughts. I have a good friend that I remember years ago, she said, I define authenticity differently than most people. And I go, how do you define that? And she goes, well, to me, am I being authentic with myself? Do I know what I'm thinking and feeling? And then what I say to other people, I have choice about, but I always want to be internally authentic. And I found that to be really helpful. So I always try to be internally authentic. But if I'm visiting France, I'll walk in the store and go, bonjour, whatever.
Right.
That's most of my French. But I don't see that as being inauthentic. I'm just doing what they do. Or if I'm in the UK, going cheers,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I feel myself, I guess my resistance was huge to this. Something like that. We talked about this. But I feel it kind of starting to break and dissipate. Yeah. I think I just need more time to marinate in that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just keep processing. But it's giving yourself the freedom to go, I know who I am, and I get to behave however I want to behave in a particular situation.
Yes. I'm the messenger. So if someone needs this message, they're going to get that.
Yeah, exactly. And and look, your energy looks great when you do that.
This thing? Wait, which thing? This thing? Thank you.
I said we were we're ending now, but I'll go another half hour. So we're going to do a group meditation, and then I'll call on some more folks. And I want to read a couple of comments from the chat, because Olive Hickmont, who's fantastic. I always call her the mother of energetic NLP in the UK, because well, this goes back to what I was saying earlier. I gave a talk at an NLP conference in San Francisco, and all of us in the audience, and I'd never met her before, but something I was told that we were going to have this really big connection and do things together. And at the end of my talk, Olive goes, I'm bringing you to the UK to teach. And I went, okay. Now we're very good friends. And Olive does incredible work on learning and neurodivergence and literacy and numeracy. So I love thinking of coaching as just giving people flexibility of behavior. Fits my neurodivergent coaching perfectly. Yeah, it's when you realize, again, to me, it's like, if I do a waltz, not that I do very often, I'm not like a different person than if I'm doing some hippie dancing or whatever, something, tango, which I can't do. It's just me doing different things in different styles. Sue's saying, wow, something has lit me up this past hour, hoping the healing energy helps. Yeah, I'll focus on that too. And somebody put, I just saw a theater play called Human Mystery here in Athens just an hour ago. I was invited to it under mysterious circumstances. I love that. Okay, I will again mention this Saturday, Sunday, Monday. The Monday's optional. Highly encourage. I'm doing the Discover Your Miraculous Abilities program. If you're enjoying it all, what we're doing now, it's going to be well, you can look back in the chat, but the consistent feedback I get from people is that it's life-changing, and it's easy, it's fun. We don't allow hard work. You may get lit up or triggered at times, but then you clear it. And at the end of it, so we spend over the 3 days, we're clearing lots of karma, spiritual contracts, unconscious programming, energy programming, limiting beliefs, and more. But then by the end of it, everybody has the ability to work with energy, both in person or remotely, with themselves and with other people. And you don't need to be in some kind of helping profession. So in the corporate work I do, I'm always doing energy work with the people too. And with permission, but it doesn't have to be conscious permission. Oh, thank you, Jane, put the link up in there. But in those 3 days of the Discover Your Miraculous Abilities, Daima, you'll just change your life for the better. it'll help you emotionally. It'll help you feel more secure in life. It'll give you a lot of abilities. And people in the DIMA program, some people are completely new to energy work. Some people have done energy work for 30 years. Because everybody puts their miraculous self in charge, they get whatever works for them to take their I was going to say the next steps, but their next leaps in life. So that's one of the great things about energetic NLP is because you're miraculous self in charge, you get your experience and other people can get their own experience, just as we're doing today. Come to Diamond, great. Okay, everybody, we'll just do a quick group meditation and then so set your intention that the energy coming in now is healing and clearing. We call it lit up because when things come up, it activates things in your energy field and you can see them. And often they look dark, but people call it being lit up because it changes your energy. You could call it being triggered. So the intention of this meditation is to heal and clear a lot of what's gotten triggered by listening to everybody. And that as it gets healed and cleared, your miraculous self will replace it with wisdom, knowledge, concepts, skills, abilities, attitudes, and behaviors from your miraculous self. And then if you also have something in particular you want help with, you can set that intention. Just add or better. That gives your miraculous self permission to give you something better than what you're asking for. Give 100% permission to receive the benefits, 100% permission for your miraculous self to be in charge. And while the energy is flowing, something I didn't mention earlier, when the energy is flowing, you can have all kinds of different reactions. A common one is to go into an altered state. And sometimes people go, I'm not sure if I was awake or asleep, and I don't remember anything. If that happens, that's fine. It's great. Some of the energies I use are very high frequency. And part of what they do is put you in that altered state very often, which is an easy state to clear unconscious blocks, energetic blocks, karma, etc. You may temporarily feel aches and pains. Emotions may come up, and most of that will be emotional energy that is either from your past, or a lot of it will be from other people that got stored in your body and energy field, got stuck there. So if emotions come up, just go, okay. You don't, just be mindful of it. Don't fight it, don't feed it, just let it flow. You're just releasing it, which is good. Sometimes people twitch, which is a way to release energy sometimes. Sometimes people yawn or sneeze or their eyes water. So to make a long story short, any reaction you have is fine. Just notice it and don't judge it. Just go, oh, that's interesting. Okay, now energies are coming in to help you process and integrate the benefits of that. You're going to be processing that for at least days, if not weeks. Oh, and because some people I know need to get off, some already have, I'll mention, set your intention and give permission that after this session, that if you're doing anything that requires safety, that your miraculous self and your unconscious mind will make sure you're grounded, safe, and alert, grounded, safe, and alert, grounded, safe, and alert. And you always want to imagine your miraculous self is bringing in more of your essence and supportive energy. So you're always filling up your cells, your DNA, your organs, your body systems, your chakras, your energy channels, your energy field. As it gets cleared, it gets filled up with your essence and with supportive energies. In a moment, I'm going to call on Christine, and then Rachel and Kat are the next ones. And I'll try to go more quickly through people. You'll still get the work, but we'll just make it quicker. So Christine, if you could unmute.
Hi, Art. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, great.
Perfectly.
I've been moving through quite a bit of grief the last few years, and it's been consistently feeling really immobilizing to the point where I feel like my entire life is just at a standstill. It's difficult to make decisions. And I'm curious if you can see that, if that's still the case, or I'm also starting to think that, you know, I'm waking up every morning and putting on this label of a person who's grieving, and this is who I inherently am, you know?
Yeah. Well, the first thing is, and I'm sorry, but I'm trying to rush. So yeah, I'm sorry that you've been going through that. And about 70% of that grief energy isn't even yours. So we're going to start, which is really common.
Wow.
Emotional state that we have problems with, a great deal of the energy won't be ours. So I'd say 70% of it's not yours. And another 20% is like past energies that don't really belong in the present. So, and for anybody else, if there's an emotional state that you have problems with, just imagine right now the energy is coming in, your miraculous self is in charge, and it's starting to drain off into the earth energies of that emotional state that aren't yours, that are other people's, that are in your body or energy field, or it might be from past lives, or it might be from earlier in this life, but it doesn't belong here and now. So easy deep breath. You can even yawn, relax. And you're right that and this is common, it has become part of your identity. So we're separating that out. Phil Parker, who has something called the lightning process and does great work. He words it in a way that I like. He goes, you know, in this case, go, well, say to yourself, I'm doing grief. It's something I'm doing. It's not something I am. I'm doing loneliness. I'm doing grief. I'm doing happiness. I'm doing, there you go. So you have been doing this grief for a while, and now it's time to let a lot of it go. And for everybody, often there's programming and beliefs that cause us to hold on to some of these. Some of you may be old enough to remember an old, I think it was a Carly Simon song from many years ago. One of the lines, and it was, "Suffering is the only thing that lets me know I'm alive." So, we have beliefs that certain feelings either let us know we're alive or somehow add some meaning to life. And I'm not saying there can't be some truth to emotions adding meaning, but a lot of that is just programming, and that let your miraculous self change the programming. So again, that in this case, grief is something that you're doing. It's not what you are or who you are. And I should say grief is something that you were doing, a lot of it. And for everybody, sometimes when we want to make a big change, our unconscious mind likes consistency. And so sometimes even a very enjoyable, positive change can still bring up some anxiety for the unconscious mind. Well, like, if I don't have grief, well, how will I be? How will I be in life? And so it'd be useful, spend some time thinking about how you're going to be in the world with less grief. And build up those scenarios. And the more you think about that, and think about it in the positive aspects of it. And you can also think of, if you think it might cause any problems, is how you deal with them. And that'll give your unconscious mind familiarity and comfort with it. Yeah, you're already starting that. So I'm going to call Rachel in a moment. How are you feeling, Christine?
I'm feeling a lot better. As soon as you said, the percentages at 70% isn't mine and 20 isn't even in present time, my entire body just felt like a huge sigh, like, finally, thank you. And then your advice about thinking about, how you'll be in the world. I feel like I've already started doing that, but every time it pops in my head, it's like, that doesn't feel real, or like imposter syndrome or something like that. So I think just dealing with those emotions is probably my next step.
Yeah, and do it by creating familiarity with it. And maybe feeling all the grief is the imposter syndrome, actually. Because that's what you really are.
Yeah.
They're gonna go, well, that's the imposter.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't think you were, as a young child, grieving constantly. I mean, unless you had a childhood where that was necessary, but there we go. And then we can release a lot of childhood stuff too here. Okay, the energy will keep working with you. Imagine filling up though with your essence and supportive energies.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, I have to read a message in the chat. Grateful for your art, for being in all of our lives. Thank you. I appreciate that. Rachel.
Hi, Art. Thank you. I was wondering if I could keep it open to just whatever is coming up right now that would like to be worked with.
Perfect. Yeah, I didn't mention that before. That's a great way to do it too, is just tell your M, like, yeah, whatever's up. So take a deep breath. How are you doing, Rachel?
I'm doing good. I wasn't sure if you were saying anything. I think I lost the screen for a little bit. Someone else popped up.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't right then. No. And be sure everybody to mute if you're not. This will probably mute you too, Rachel, so you have to unmute. There we go. On some unconscious level, part of you is sort of looking at possible futures and is concerned about a couple of them. And I'm just getting to say to your unconscious, those aren't going to happen. So it's like you don't have to put energy into not making them happen because they're not going to happen. You're not going that route. That may have made no conscious sense, but I'm talking to your unconscious. There we go. And not that this is uncommon, but there's some real stagnant energy in your heart chakra that they're clearing out. And I keep hearing like relighting a furnace. That's the thing I keep hearing. In fact, it'd be useful for you every now and then to imagine there's this beautiful flame in your heart chakra. And just say hello to it. Let it get brighter. I don't know if you can feel that, but that's a lot better. In a moment, I'm going to go on to Kat, but how are you feeling, Rachel?
I'm feeling really, really good. Thank you so much for the lightning and the heart energy. I've been feeling like I've been having a lot of trouble opening my heart, so that helps so much. Thank you.
Yeah, just keep coming back to that flame. And I love all the ferns and stuff in your picture.
Thank you.
Ferns are two of my favorites. So, and Kat.
Hi, Art. I would like some help clearing whatever is going on in my throat chakra. My voice is just gone, and I also have pain in the back of my neck. So if I could there's something going on there, and I would like to know what it is, or get rid of it anyway.
Very big cord going in the back of your neck, and then some little ones too. So I'll work on clearing what the cords are hooked into. And that goes up your throat and into your face a little bit. And then there's another cord that comes in through the base of your spine and goes up and then somehow connects to these other ones. So there's some part of you, I like these chords. It's like, no, I don't think so.
Oh, no.
Yeah, be clear, like, no.
Not happening.
I can see why your neck would be sore. I mean, the one going in your neck is like really big. In order to release it, there's some spiritual contracts that we're working with. And for people that don't know, spiritual contracts are agreements we made on a soul or spirit level with, it can be with people, with groups, with families, ancestors, religions, spiritual groups, political groups. I mean, in spiritual contracts, they can be ended, they can be revised, and there's some other things that can be done with it. But we're just letting your miraculous self handle that. So that cord's coming out of your neck. There's part of it's still in, but a lot of it's out now. And whatever was cording into your neck, it's some kind of consciousness, but it's not like a person. It's not like a bad thing. It's just not helpful and not. I mean, it causes some problems, but it's not like because it's bad. It's just doesn't belong there. Here we go. I don't know if you'll be able to feel it yet. How's your neck feeling?
Loads better.
Pardon?
Loads better, thank you.
Yeah, it's
move it.
there's still a little bit of that cord in you. And for everybody, it's normal. People cord one another and stuff, but and sometimes cords are these energy connections between people, and sometimes it's fun for a while, but then other ones aren't. Okay, thanks, Olive. Olive sleeping. By Karen. A great comment from somebody. Need to go. Thank you, Art. This was my first experience. Spend a lot of time yawning. Let's see how this goes. With little hands and heart. Yeah, and again, yawning's a good sign. I mean, there's a lot of good reactions. Okay, well, you're looking better, Kat. Good.
Thank you.
So I'll get a couple more people, then we will end for today. I'll probably try to do one more Coach-A-Thon this week. Look for an email. If I do it, it'll probably be, well, closer to Wednesday or something. So Linda, go ahead and unmute.
Hello.
Hi. Good to see you.
Yes, it's been a while. I think this is a theme in general, but specifically with money, I tend to consistently have enough to just get by.
Yep. Okay.
And
I can relate to that. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm cancer free, so I'm capable of self-healing, but I seem to not be able to do it in this area.
Yeah. Let's look at it. So how was the short where you worded it again? Just what about money? It was
just enough to get by.
Just enough to get by, right? Okay. We'll start by, I'm working on the energy, but also start by redefining what just enough to get by is. So there's an idea in NLP and in energetic NLP that the idea that you can utilize what's there. So part of, we're working on all kinds of levels, but one easy win here is just to redefine what getting by is. So getting by means you're adding to your savings, you're building retirement. Yeah, you understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So getting by isn't like, oh, I paid my bills.
Right. I want to thrive, not survive.
Right. But you can still utilize that getting by and just spend some time over the next few days just redefining what that means. Because you already have that pattern, so we can just redefine it. I mean, the energy is working with it too, but redefining it, well, getting by means I have to have investments, or I have to, be putting this much money in savings or investment every month. And by redefining it, it'll be easy for your mind to like just go, oh, okay, because you have been getting by. So let's utilize that and just redefine what that means. I'm working on some entitlement kinds of things. And I think there's old religious programming about, not okay to have more than other people. And, there's only so much stuff to go around, et cetera, et cetera. So many great things put in the chat. I want to thank you all. Leslie, that I worked on before, I'm still working with your energy. I feel more puppy energy entering into my spirit. And the work with other people has resonated. Okay. I'm still working on your energy, but just a quick question, because I've known Linda from years ago. What part of the world are you living in these days?
North Bay.
Oh, North Bay. Oh, great. I didn't know if you'd gone further. Okay. How are you feeling?
I felt some real heavy energy in my chest.
Mm-hmm. And how is it feeling now? As heavy?
It's clearing, yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'll keep working with you, and unfortunately, I'm only going to be able to call on 2 more people because I will have to go too. But again, there will be, I hope to have one more Coach-A-Thon this week, and another. If you can come to Dyma, it'll be so much more than what we could do here. Rochelle. There you go.
Well, yes, I've been up listening to you since 3 a.m. Yes, it's now 5:30. Yes, I have big procrastination issues, really. Things I've always wanted to do and I just don't start.
Okay, let's work on that.
No, I've got lots of skills and lots of learning. I can help a lot of people, but I just don't make the first main step.
Okay, well, let's set your intention that what we're doing now is going to help you do that. And let's see what we can do. One of the things, the energy is working on all kinds of levels, but one of the things that's coming up is something that I used to have a lot of too, that part of what makes it hard to start is you're thinking of, it has to be like helping people in really big ways. If you dial that down, and you can, and you will, but if you go, well, even if I just help somebody a little bit, and just start making it more achievable, and you'll exceed that. But there's a part of you that gets overwhelmed by thinking, oh, I have to, you know, if I work with somebody, it's got to be this whole huge life-changing thing. And if you just kind of let it be okay that it might just help them significantly. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you scale it down, then part of you won't be so intimidated by it.
Yeah, first I must do this before I can do that, but it's not necessary. I think I can just go.
Yeah, just think, I mean,
flow.
think of times when people just helped you a little bit. It still mattered, you know, and just, again, you'll exceed that, but it'll help part of you just go, well, all I need to do is help them a bit. And then that'll free you up to really approach it more from heart. Because right now your heart gets closed down around it because you're putting all this weight on what has to happen. And lots of us go through that. I can definitely relate. So just imagining the worst that would ever happen if you give loving attention to somebody is it's a good thing. Even if you don't, you know, even if you can't take care of what they wanted, even just that loving attention somebody would help them. And you'll do a lot more than that, but just again, like scaling it down. And I'm going to call him the next person, but I'm going to keep working with you and the energy on this, but just for the time's sake, but just give your mind really permission to clear out a lot of the old thinking that sucks the way out of it. So I know when I get stuck in life, it's because I make it such a big deal that I suck all the joy out of it, and then I don't do it, you know. And then when I scale things down in my mind, then it's like, oh, you know, then it opens the doorways to do something much more significant and to enjoy it more.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And then, unfortunately, the last person I'll be able to call in today, Jen. Love all this.
Hello, hello. Thanks. So totally different than what I thought I was going to ask, but I have resistance to it, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. I wanted to know if you could help me relieve the energy of fear. I'm going to a wedding in a couple weeks, and I'll see a person who abused me when I was a child. Oh, wow. And so even though I've done a lot of work around this, it's really coming up in my dream state of just not being able to sleep or having dreams of being, you know, like attacked or, you know, just that troubling fear that's coming up. And I don't know, this wasn't what I was going to ask you about, but this is what.
Great. That's a great one. And you know, and it's coming up to be healed. So realize that. Right. Let's work on healing it. And this is another thing. You spend some time imagining you can go back in a time machine and comforting that younger you, you know, and help her to understand what it did or didn't mean, and what, you know, what it did or didn't mean about her and about life. And part of what we're opening up is that there's a part of all of us that's aware of when danger is actually there. And when we really give that part permission, then we don't have to be as afraid, because that part will either avoid the situation or alert us in time to, you know, for the potential danger, so that you're able to avoid it. So you've developed so much, you have incredible abilities. And part of that is to have a radar that can be making sure that you're not at the wrong place at the wrong time. And that, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to just work on the energy. And this is for everybody. We all have parts of us that, and I've definitely had times in my life, and I'm sure many of you have too, where I knew about a danger before, you know, and so I could either, you know, I could avoid it in some way. And also just reassuring that child part of you that, that you're not helpless anymore, or, both because that you can be aware of dangers and avoid them, and that just, you're grown up now and you're a powerful person, more than you think you are. And also ask, and it doesn't have to come in consciously so much, but just ask that you get a download on guidance on how to deal with the situation when you're at the wedding. And just trust that that's coming in. And that there's a lot of different options, but all of them, but that you'll deal with it in a powerful way, whether you say or do anything or not, that you can come from a place of power. And I am getting, again, you don't recognize how powerful you are now. And start meditating on that and letting your miraculous self help you to really own that and understand it. Some of you heard this story before, but I had a client once who thought of himself as like weak and unable to defend himself. And the guy was really big. And I was seeing him in person. So I had him stand up next to me, we're facing a full-length mirror. And he's this big guy. And I go, show your unconscious how big you are now. And he goes, I'm really big. And I go, I'm feeling a little small. But yeah, you're really big. I didn't feel weak, but I felt small. But yeah, I just keep hearing that. Start paying attention to that you're powerful in all kinds of ways. And power, I remember years ago taking a self-defense class, and the first thing they started with was, your tongue and your brain are your best self-defense weapons. That they can keep you out of and get you out of a lot of problems, which I've found to be very true in life. So just realize you're a powerful being, and I'm not just about physical power. Is that helpful?
That's really helpful. Thank you, Art, so much.
Yeah, I just keep getting the sense of a powerful being. They're going like, she just doesn't even get it. You're not that kid anymore.
I'm just asking my miraculous self to allow the resistance to really knowing that and embodying that now.
Yeah, and let that, unfold over the next few days.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. For everybody take a deep breath. Let's bring some energy in, again, some more clearing and opening for everybody. And set your intention and give permission that tonight and for the next 4 nights, part of the time when you're sleeping, your miraculous self and your unconscious mind will review what happened during this session, including what happened that was outside of your awareness, or especially that. And set your intention that while you're sleeping, while this review goes on, your miraculous self will infuse it with wisdom and knowledge and benefits and concepts, skills, abilities, attitudes, and behaviors from your miraculous self. While you're sleeping, the benefits will be made deeper, richer, and wider. And while you're sleeping, they'll be made higher and more multidimensional. And while you're sleeping, the benefits will automatically be integrated into your mind, emotions, body, and energy field. So that while you sleep soundly, deeply, and wake up feeling refreshed, the benefits will automatically be integrated into your mind, emotions, body, and energy field. And this can happen easily, naturally, while you sleep soundly and deeply. Let's dissolve that gold ball or group energy space. And it's very important that you ask your miraculous self to retrieve your energy out of my space and everybody else's space. And we'll all retrieve our energy out of you. And give your miraculous self permission to fill you up with more of your essence and with supportive energies in your cells, DNA, organs, body systems, chakras, energy channels, energy field. From the heart of the earth, imagine a column of energy comes up near the base of your spine, and give the earth permission to ground only your authentic energy into your body. So it can ground only your authentic energy into your body. And your miraculous self can use that grounding to bring energies up from the earth that are nurturing, healing, energies that help you manifest, energies that acknowledge and love you, validate your existence, or your right to exist. And then any energies your miraculous self wants to release can lightly go down the grounding into the earth. Well, thank you, everybody, for being part of this. Be sure to drink water when we're done. Be sure to move a little bit and stretch, because when your energy field realigns, your body wants to realign. So it helps if you move a little bit. And even just some light stretching movement would be great, or a warm shower and bath. Thank you so much for being part of this. I hope to see you at Daima next weekend. Again, it's going to be 3 days of transformation, and each day builds on the one before. So it's like the momentum each day just is a quantum leap over the day before. So thank you. And again, I may be doing another Coach-A-Thon. I apologize for the people I couldn't get to individually, but we all got worked on. And thank you very much. And do let other people know about Energetic NLP. So bye for now. I'll leave the chat open, but I'm turning the rest off.